Today in The Sims 4, we are adding 2 more houses to our village inspired by Halloween movies. Yesterday, I put out part 1 of this mini Halloween build series, and that part covered Halloween Town, Hocus Pocus, Monster House, and Halloween the movie. So I'll link that video down below if you want to see those houses built too. But today, we're going to be building houses for Coraline and Hotel Transylvania. So starting off with Coraline. In this movie, Coraline finds a secret door in her home that leads to an alternate world. This world is parallel to her own and even seems better in a strange way, until they try and keep her there and away from her real family forever. Alright, so we left off over here. I think I want to start by raising this up on terrain. The Myers house to the left was raised up, so we're just gonna bring it up slightly. I've again just added some rocks around to make it look a little bit nicer. And the house from the movie Coraline is iconic. It's called the Pink Palace Apartments. There are multiple different apartments in here, and depending on what part of the movie you're watching, the house can look different. If you're in the normal world, it can be dull, a little bland, but if you're in the parallel world, it's bright, vibrant, and colorful. We're gonna be aiming obviously for the colorful side, the parallel world. A lot of the houses that we've built in this village already were run down and kind of sad, so I think for this one, we're gonna make it super colorful, and we'll see what we can fit in terms of the apartments as well. So I don't know if I'm gonna include all of the apartments in here. As we go, we'll kind of see where we end up with our spacing. So far this is what our shell is looking like. I'm gonna grab a pink wallpaper. I'm just gonna use this one from base game. And before anything else, I need to build out a front porch. So I'm using this fence here from Strangerville, and it's actually gonna wrap all the way around here to this side as well. For our foundation paint, I'm gonna use this one here from Get Together, but then at the front, I'm gonna change it and use this lattice foundation instead. We'll add in our first set of stairs. There is another very noticeable set of stairs wrapping around the entire house, and I feel like that is part of what makes this house so unique, so I'm gonna save that part for last. And now we can go ahead and roof it. So I'm taking a gabled roof piece first, and we're gonna bring that across, and I'm extending that all the way to the back. We're also gonna need a hipped roof piece, and same thing, I'm adding that on and bringing it to about here. We're gonna pull that all the way to the front. Maybe we can raise these up just a tiny bit. For trim, I'm gonna use this one here from For Rent, and the house itself is in like a Queen Anne Victorian sort of style, which means there's going to be a ton of detail on the outside. I'm so happy we have this like scalloped roof trim now, because you kind of need details like that when building a house in this style. For roof paint, I'm using this here from base game, and we actually need to bring this roofing piece over top of that bump out. Oh, we could actually add that on to the bottom part of the roof, so there's even going to be a bit of trim right there as well. Then we also need another roofing piece coming over to this side, so I'm just copying and pasting the one that we have, and we'll bring that in so it's hiding in the hipped roof piece. We'll add one more small one to the side here, and for now I'm just gonna turn on my grid and add some flooring right here, because that's where our stairs are gonna meet up at the top. But now that we figured out our roofing, we're gonna go in and add some trim. I love using this base game one for this style of home. There's also this thicker one I like to use, but I feel like for this house we'll keep it minimal. Oh, we also need the patio roofing, so I'm gonna take a hipped roof and just put that over top of where my patio is. I think we'll be fine to bring it inside the house this time. We'll just lower it down so it's not going to be interfering, and we're just gonna add one more final piece right here. Now we can add some columns holding this up, so I'm using these here from base game. We're also wrapping these around the side, and now we can start to go in and add our windows. So there are a few different ones on this house. I'm starting off with these ones here from City Living. I'm also gonna add those onto the tower part. We need a big rounded window in there. For that I'm using cats and dogs, and I'm also gonna grab this like half circle one. We're gonna put that one right at the top, and underneath here we can add 3 base game windows. I think I'm gonna keep with that combination through the rest of the house, so I'm just gonna add in the rest. For our door, I'm gonna try this one from Growing Together, and then beside the door they have all of the apartment mailboxes. I was thinking to represent that we could add 3 of these keys, and we'll just add our mailbox here beside that. I'm adding these from Lovestruck as our lighting outside, and we also have to include all of the roofing details, so these I'm using are from Strangerville. I'm also adding them onto the front and over on the side. I'm adding these here on the points from Get Together, and I also wanted to add in these spires here from For Rent. So our house is coming along. I think before I do the landscaping, we're gonna add the stairs. So I've added some fencing up here already, the same from the porch, and I also added a door here. And I'm gonna start by just attaching some stairs onto the platform. Then we're gonna rotate it in front of the house, and then we have to rotate it a second time. But can I bring this over? Oh my gosh, I can! Is this the furthest I'm gonna be able to get it though? I think so, so our stairs are just gonna have to wrap around like that. The final thing before we add add the landscaping, I wanted to find a sign just to represent the one that's outside the pink apartments. So I'm just gonna add this sign from Get Together, and I can just attach it onto a debug fence post. So here are our pink apartments from Coraline. I did add in a few extra details that I want to show you guys. I wanted a little more detail on the front patio, so I raised up these archways from Realm of Magic, giving it a little more of that whimsical feel. Over to the garden, I added this wishing well. I moved our sign over to the front. Of course, added more pumpkins. I added a bunch of those trees with the lights here too. It looks so pretty in the back of our village. I'm so glad we added this in. Okay, let's go inside. I've already made a floor plan, and for the floor plan, I was kind of looking at real floor plans that people have posted online. Ours is going to be a little bit different because I want to include all of the iconic rooms from this movie, but we're going to be focusing on the ones that are in Coraline's house in the parallel world. And to start off, I want to start with her kitchen. It's super colorful. We have yellow counters, lots of clutter in here. So for flooring, I'm going to use this from high school years, and we'll use this yellow wallpaper from For Rent. We need yellow counters, so I'm using these from Cottage Living. There's an oven over here that kind of looks like this one from Jungle Adventure, and then there's a small shelf above that, and the stove hood over top is really cute, but it kind of looks like an awning. So I'm gonna add a regular hood over top, and I'll shrink an awning and put that over top of that. I'm adding in matching Cottage Living cabinets. I really want to get these corner pieces on there. We're adding some hanging herbs over top of the windows, and underneath I want to add these curtains from the Bistro kit. I think they look super cute, like halfway like that, with the herbs covering the top part. Right here we'll add a matching sink, and I can't actually see the fridge in the photo that I'm referencing, but I feel like we could just put it right here. There's a small green table over in this corner, and I'm actually going to use a counterpiece and just slide it in. That way there are even plates and kitchen clutter under there. And then we also need to fit a round dining table in the center. Now we just have to fill this all up with clutter. This is a very lived in looking kitchen. We can add a coffee maker here. All right, so here is our kitchen, our Coraline parallel universe kitchen. I always thought this scene was really pretty when she sees her like other parents, as creepy as it may be, which by the way, this movie is so creepy. I love it, don't get me wrong, but I remember just feeling a little weird the first time I watched this. But here's our kitchen, super pretty, super colorful. Let's move from here into the living room. So I was thinking for her living room, I kind of want to make this in her real home because this room in the movie is very significant. This is obviously the room where she finds the secret door to the other world. So I'm gonna include that by adding in this little cats and dogs door. On the fireplace, we need to add a bunch of snow globes, and we'll add a picture on top of there. There's a big yellow rug in the center of this room with a coffee table in the middle, and things are again kind of out of place. Like this movie in general is meant to be a little wonky, even like the animation style is just weird. I think there's actually a shovel in this room, so I'm gonna add this here from Get Together. There's a radiator over here. I want to add boxes on top of the chairs and on the table. I'll add some lighting. This seems like a very big room with not a lot going on in it, other than, you know, this secret portal door. So I think I'm just gonna also add a bookshelf over to this side. I kind of want to also add something for the cat because the cat follows her into the door. Maybe we can let the cat live in here though. We'll add a bed, maybe a bowl over here in the corner. And I also wanted to add a doll in here. Ooh, we could add this creepy one. Wait, she literally has button eyes. It's perfect. Oh, I was looking to see if the Sims team added one with blue hair. They didn't. I totally thought that would be something they would put in, but that's okay. We'll just keep this one. And this is going to be our living room, complete with the door, some little Easter egg items in here too. I was gonna save this for just a hallway, but I was thinking about making their big dining room, like the scene where they're all eating together. So for wallpaper, I think we could try this. This is back in the other world too, so I'm tempted to make the flooring look a little nicer. We need a super fancy table with a tablecloth. I guess we could try this one from My Wedding Stories. It's a little more rustic than I want, but I'm adding some chairs in here, and the chairs are kind of spread out from each other. And there are tons of fancy hutches in this room with plates. I think there's a picture that looks like this from Vampires, and they're having like a feast on the dining table. Like there's a bunch of food on the table, so I'm gonna fill this up with food clutter that I can find, like the fruit cake and this bread cake. We could add in these plates from Parenthood. I can see a big picture of like a house, so I'm gonna add this one from Paranormal, and they also have some sort of animal heads on the wall, so I'm adding these from Horse Ranch. Okay, so here's our dining room. I'm trying to like match the reference picture that I'm showing you with the camera angles too. I kind of don't mind the cow plant heads in the background like that. I feel like this looks interesting and not really a style I would have built normally. Another room I really wanted to feature was the other father's study, but to do that we need a literal piano, so I think I'm gonna have to build it in one of the rooms upstairs. There are multiple instruments in here. It's basically like a music room in the other world, so let's try that for our wallpaper. That's from Vampires. I feel like it's pretty similar. Behind the piano on the wall, there are pictures going up in this like diagonal pattern. They're obviously all oddly shaped and I can't really do that in The Sims, but I can try and space them out in like a weird way. Behind that we have a lamp. There's also a record player in here. I think also a box of records or some sort of music on the floor. There's also a yellow rug in here. We definitely don't have the exact instrument, but I'm gonna size up this. It's just gonna have to be like a big violin over on this side. We'll add in some more big pictures on the wall. Maybe some of like the music inspired ones from base game. We'll add a table in the background here with some books on it. And then there also needs to be a blue shelf that is rotating around. My first thought was to use these from high school years. I wonder if I'll be able to stack these properly. But the thing with these is they like to clip together and I wanted to rotate them. Even if I tried using different ones, I can't turn them anyway. Maybe there's a way I can stack them at least going on a diagonal like that. I think that's just gonna have to be the best we can do. And again, we're gonna fill this up with record clutter and book clutter. Okay, so here we have the other father's study. Really just a weird music room. Here it is from a different angle with like the walls down so you can really see in. This is again super funky with like the shelves over here, the weirdly placed artwork. Very, very odd. This is what it's looking like to the other side. I just added a couple chairs in here, a bookshelf. I also just last minute changed some of the swatches on this artwork here. Okay, moving on, I want to go across the hall to do Coraline's bedroom. Her bedroom is super purpley, but it's like a red purple. She has a canopy bed and her bed sheets are blue. So I'm gonna try this one from City Living. There's a trunk at the end of her bed. I'm gonna use this toy trunk. On this side, there's a fireplace. We can add this purple base game rug here. And I wanted to build in this room specifically so we could use this section here to make a bay window. Or I guess kind of like a makeshift bay window. We'll use the diagonal seating here from Cats and Dogs. And for curtains, we can use these here from Vintage Glamour. She also has a mobile in her room and it's almost exact to this one here. Oh, there's like a vanity dresser in there too. I hope I can fit this over to this side. And then we can have an end table over here. And she also has like birds coming down or something from the ceiling of her bed. I was thinking about maybe adding this over top from Growing Together. On this side, I'm gonna add some purple shelving. We could add a bunch of toys and dolls in there, maybe even some more snow globes. I'm gonna add this on top of the fireplace. I think I'm actually gonna bring those shelves over to the other side too. All right, so here's what we're doing for the bedroom. I added some extra toys happening over here in the shelves. We've got the fireplace, our seating over here. To this side, I just added some posters on the wall so there was something there. And I wish I had wallpaper in this exact color, maybe with more of a pattern on it because I feel like that would match a little better, but this color I think was too perfect for this. I couldn't find many pictures of her actual parent bedroom, but I did find this. It doesn't look like anything too special. There's a bed, there's the end table there with a picture of the family, and really just some clothes hanging around. So we'll just add something simple for the bed. This is in the real world, I think, by the way, so we're just gonna make it look a little more gray and run down. We need a tiny framed picture for here. I was hoping to maybe find something we could put on the table, but I'm not seeing any pictures of the family on the gallery, so we'll just pretend this pair is them. We also need an alarm clock. We'll add a dresser to this side, and really just like, I guess, clothes. Maybe some folded shirts on here, some other boxes. I guess we could add in some of these family portraits, like the ones from Growing Together where you can fill them in with real sim pictures. Look at the difference between this room and like the rest of the house, all colorful, but this is going to be the real parents' room. I'm liking that we're getting to do a combination of the two sides of the movie. It is nice adding more color into this build, but I have one more room upstairs. I'm thinking we turn this into a sewing room. I've been changing all these lights, by the way, to like a red/pink since I feel like there's a filter on the other world that kind of gives off this vibe. For this one, I'm gonna kind of go off on my own a little bit, and we'll just add in some items that could match the aesthetic already. But since we discovered this button eye doll, we definitely need to add a couple of these in here. I wonder if there's any buttons in debug or anything, or if we could find things that look like buttons. Like I can add in these from Get to Work. These are literally just gears. Ooh, we could add this from Nifty Knitting. I think that's a little collection of buttons. And this is gonna just be like a creepy knitting room. Just there's something strange about it. We could add some old creepy rocking chairs in this corner. We'll add the knitting basket in there. Ooh, this bunny with the one button eye. Ooh, there's a button drawers on here. I'm really just trying to find any button related items. These kits from Crystal Creations kind of look like the drawers rows of buttons that get pulled out. So I guess I'll add those with like some tools on the wall. I actually hate the buttons. They're so creepy. All right, so here's our scary sewing room. I tried to include as many button things as I possibly could. I think the dolls are like the best part of it. On this side, we have our rocking chairs back there with the sewing basket. We've got another sewing station over here. Somehow Bun Bun got roped into all of this, but there we go. That's our creepy sewing room. Oh, and I just realized the window could pass as like button shaped as well. We do still need a bathroom over here. I'm just gonna tie one together in a similar colorful aesthetic. I'm adding a sink over here from Tiny Living, and I wanted to add in this mirror from Lovestruck. I was thinking about adding in that weird swirly item from Decor to the Max. I don't know if it's gonna really match anything in here. Oh, and you can't shrink it, so it's just gonna be massive. It kind of reminded me of the portal, so I'm just gonna include that. Why is it in the bathroom? I don't know, but there we go. That is our top floor all complete. I was thinking in this room over here we could do the original father's study, where he's just on his little desk and he's piled around with work, boxes and files and stuff. So I'm gonna add a desk right here with like a regular chair, a computer on it with a little lamp, and I was picturing files like these from Strangerville everywhere, boxes underneath the desk, and Get to Work has these boxes of files here too, which we could stack on top of each other. He also has papers cluttered all over the floor, and these are stacked like all the way up to the ceiling. It's kind of cool because in the other study, the way they portray all these stacked files is like through the shelving and the artwork on the walls. The way they made the parallel universe is actually really cool. So I'm just stacking these like all the way around the shelf. It would be nice if these stacked like the bookshelves or like the plates in the Sims floor. We could stack up the Book Nook kit books, I guess. Ooh, that definitely does look cool in the background. On the other side, we could also add some bookshelves. I think I'm just gonna add this boring one here, and I'll stack up more files on this side. The idea here is that he's literally like drowning in his work, so I really want this to just be surrounding him completely. So here we have Father's real study in the real world, full of all the boxes, the books, literally just all of the work for him to do. Poor guy, they make him look so tired in the actual movie too. Like he is really just going through it. I think he's a writer actually in the movie as well, which explains all of the books around. There was a tiny room over to this side still, so I just added in some like seating, just something to be there in the otherworld aesthetic. And there we have our Coraline inspired house in The Sims 4. This is really fun. This is hard though. There are so many rooms that she actually visits in this movie, so many different scenes and locations. Definitely recommend watching this one if you haven't seen it already around Halloween. Okay, moving on. Our village is almost complete. We have one more building to do, which is going to be Hotel Transylvania. This is actually a big series with multiple movies and TV shows, but to sum it all up, Count Dracula has built a lavish resort where he lives with his daughter Mavis. The hotel is a safe haven for monsters only, so when an ordinary human gets involved, things get a little more complicated. The actual hotel itself is massive, so we definitely won't be able to build the whole thing, but we're gonna try and aim for like the front part, kind of like a tinier version of the massive hotel. I also want this to be on the highest point, so I'm raising it up on terrain. So now when we build our shell up here, is going to be overlooking the entire town. So I am gonna build this as like an actual hotel for Sims to stay at. We'll have multiple different rooms in here. The shell has bump outs sort of like this on the side. There's usually a massive bridge leading up to it, but I think I'm just gonna include the archway here. So I'm gonna build a room and I'll add octagons on the sides of it. And then on top of it, I could add fencing from the Castle Estate kit. And it's gonna sort of look like a bridge that they can use as their entry to the hotel. We're obviously gonna be using the Castle Estate kit a lot here. This whole thing is basically covered in stone. The roofing is definitely not as detailed as our Coraline house. I'm just gonna use some black roof paint, and I'm using the same roofing on the bump outs. We've got a tower roof piece. For our bridge, I'm gonna use these doors here from the Castle Estate kit, and as a bit of a magical touch, I'm gonna add in these orbs near the doorway. So it's gonna be almost glowing. This is gonna look super magical, especially at night. It almost makes it look like a portal. And speaking of orbs, someone made a comment in the last video to add some pink orbs coming out of the chimney for the Hocus Pocus cottage. And this is so smart. I'm definitely gonna add at least a couple coming up. How cute is that? I saw that idea and had to add them in. For the windows, I'm gonna stick with the Castle Estate kit, but like the windows that are actually on this thing look a little strange. They just seem super small and kind of spaced out in weird ways. And I also wanted to size up some of these spires from Get Together. Also from Get Together, we could add some of these like castle ruins, maybe making it look like this was bigger at one point. I can add some along the back there too. I'm adding some roofing details on there from vampires. To surround this thing, I'm adding in even bigger debug rocks. The actual hotel looks like it's up on a cliff, so I'm trying to surround this one with a ton of rocks too. And when we also need a sign, I'm gonna add one right outside leading up to the hotel. Okay, so here is our Hotel Transylvania. It's getting harder for me to show you with the angles of this because there's so many different levels and things going on. But here it is. It's up on the rock platforms, surrounded by a bunch of trees and ruins. We have our little sign leading up to the entry, and here's how our village is looking on the outside. This is how the village is looking at night on the exterior. I changed all of the lights to orange. Here's another view of it as well. This thing is massive. Hold on, what if we took this to the absolute extreme and we add those pumpkin lights in the background? I think we have to do it. Okay, let's go inside and furnish the rest of the hotel. So on the main floor here, we're gonna have the lobby, and this is a super busy place. This is where all of the monsters check in, where they hang out. The bellhops are like running around with luggage and everything. We're gonna need to make our own check-in desk, so for that I'm just using these stone counters from the Perfect Patio stuff pack. This is obviously not going to be functional because we don't have hotels yet in The Sims 4, but you could go ahead and set them as like separate apartments if you have The Sims 4 for rent. I'm using these curtains here from Lovestruck. There are massive curtains draped across the ceiling and across some of the windows in the actual lobby. And like I said, this whole lobby is full of monsters, so I want to add like these around. Maybe this is like a little family waiting to check in. Wait, that is so cute. And then for like a lobby seating area, we could use these chairs from Lovestruck. I also wanted to add some of these tables like stacked on top of each other. These are actually end tables from City Living, but like I said, there's luggage all over this lobby. It's kind of chaotic. So we'll add those over here. There's also that bookshelf from Cats and Dogs that looks like luggage. Oh, we could add the trunks from Werewolves. Oh, and the actual suitcases that are functional from Growing Together. I was hoping there might be like monsters in here, but they're literally just adorable. Wait, a cow plant. Perfect. There's also some of the banners we could use from high school years. I'm trying to see what else we could add in here for monsters. Oh, maybe this guy. We can put like this guy on the chair. He's just hanging out. This is gonna end up just being like a kid's dream. All of these little toys hanging out in here, but they're all so cute. Oh my gosh, if you shrink Skelly Bear, he loses his eyes. Where did they go? Don't worry, the Coraline house is right across the street. This room is crazy. We're definitely capturing the chaotic features of this hotel, but it's so cute with the little family here. All the luggage around, everyone's just hanging out, waiting to check in. Oh my gosh, there's a little tail peeking through this chair. I think I have to leave that. I did have a little section in the back here for public washrooms, so I can separate it like that. So we'll have 3 separate toilets. So each of them will have a toilet in here, and we'll just add a sink in the main room. This way, if they have to use a washroom in the lobby, they don't have to go all the way back up to their rooms. I'm using these little candles here as lighting from my wedding stories. So there they have a washroom over there, and then going upstairs, there's like a main hall here leading to 2 different hotel rooms. I think I'm gonna do them based on different colors. So on the left here, this can just be like a generic room. We can have a dresser at the end of the bed. That way our little monsters can have a TV on the end of it. I do want all of these to have a fireplace, and maybe in this one we can bring in some vampires curtains. We are gonna have to squeeze a mini fridge right behind here, or actually we could bring this wall forward even more. Okay, this way we can do the fireplace on the other side. We can add a mirror above here. We can add a bookshelf. This room is a little squishier than I would have wanted, but aren't most hotel rooms realistically? So we have our monster hotel room number 1. This one is the green room. I think I'm gonna mimic what's going on the other side just because I know I can get it to work with spacing. This one's gonna be purple though. We can change the color. Just like the other one, I'm gonna bring the wall backwards a little bit. We could add a different dresser on this side. They can also have the TV facing the bed. I think Vampires has a purpley swatch for these curtains. Like, I was thinking about this one. They'll have their fireplace. The glow in this room is ending up really pretty. The purple lighting mixed with the warm lights that we're adding in. And this little hotel room is kind of giving Claudine Wolf to me. So what if we also add in some werewolf pictures? And we'll add a fluffy rug on this side too. And then for their bathrooms, I'm gonna give them actual tile this time, not like just stone. We can fit toilets on this wall, and then on this wall we can fit the shower and the sink. I think I'm gonna make these ones pretty much the same, but I'll change up the towel swatch and maybe the bath mat color too. These are looking fancy compared to the ones downstairs. So there we have our 2 rooms, and then going upstairs, I wanted to make a bedroom inspired by Mavis's room. So we'll have like the black and pink bed, black and pink color scheme happening. Hers is cool because it has like a gothic element to it with like the dark headboard, so we could try this base game one. I think over top of this, I'm gonna add these lights from high school years. I also just added a curtain from base game behind as if that's part of the canopy. We'll add a table beside. I again need some good framed pictures. I'm also adding some of my own pillows onto this bed so that it looks a little more interesting than the base game one. I think she has some purple pillows on there, some yellow ones. We could add some over in this corner too, so that if she has friends over, they can sit on the pillows and chat. Maybe we can add a black fluffy rug underneath. On this side, we can add a bookshelf, and we still need our mini fridge. We can add a mirror in this corner, and I'm gonna add in some of these beaded curtains from Paranormal. All right, so here's our Mavis inspired bedroom in The Sims 4. I added some more chairs over to this side. There's some vampires decor going on in here. I really like the black and pink, and I like how it's totally different and a lot bigger than the other rooms that we included in this hotel. I also finished up her bathroom, and I gave her this jacuzzi tub. We've got the toilet and the sink in here. Again, definitely not a hotel to scale from the actual movie because that would be absolutely massive, but that has been us building our massive Halloween village in The Sims 4. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what your favorite house in this whole series was, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.